Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. I am Olakunle Kasumo. About 20 years ago, Nigeria began a new democratic dispensation, and one of the hopes held by some Nigerians then was that the new era would bring about freedom of expression, which will find manifestation in journalism, education, the arts, and literature. Since that dawn of a new democratic era, Nigeria has seen the emergence of brilliant writers, literary works, literary prizes, and literary festivals. The first of those literary festivals, and perhaps the most important since then, considering how it inspired the emergence of others, is the Lagos Book and Arts Festival, which was founded by Tony Akinsho and Jahman Anikulapo, who both intended to leverage on the new democratic dispensation in Nigeria to promote a culture of literacy and arts. We recently caught up with Jahman to chat with him about his thoughts on the link between democracy and the book culture, plus the experience of pioneering the longest running book festival in the country's modern era. Enjoy this. Jahman, thank you for joining us on Channel's Book Club.
Thank you, Clay.
Nice to have you here.
Yep.
Has it been 20 years of literacy and literary development in Nigeria?
Well, I think we have volume, but we lack quality.
Volume in terms of more literature produced.
See so many literary events happening. A lot of people are writing, but what is the quality of the work? I'm talking of literature now.
Literature.
What is the quality of the work that we're producing? So you have a lot of, in fact, we've had a lot more young publishing outfits coming up, a lot more self-published authors
Coming up.
But if you check the
And
quality,
a lot of events.
a lot of events, but then check the quality of, and even in terms of spread. Many of us who do book festivals or book fair, we're talking to the same people. We're not expanding. We're not expanding the community. It is the same. I like to say that most of the time when you move from one book fair or book festival to another, you are likely to see that 50%, 60% are the same people who move from Port Harcourt to Abeokuta to Lagos to Enugu to Bayelsa. It's the same set of people. And I'm asking that in a country of almost 200 million, let's even say 150 million, why is it that we cannot get 1 million people who are actually, that are turning up? Like you see at the Chaja Book Festival, like you see Frankfurt, like you see London Book Fair, even Cape Town. Now, why can't we grow that community? So we're still talking among ourselves.
But some people will argue that since democracy, book festivals, Ake Book Festival, Port Harcourt Book Festival, of course, Lagos Book and Art Festival, book events, like you rightly said, new emerging writers, the Chimamandas of this world came up within that time period. The Tejuko's of this world came up within that time period. We can go on and on. Lola Shunei and quite a lot of them. They all came up within that time period. So some will argue that they've been very good years in terms of
it's not
literary renaissance in Nigeria.
That's what I'm saying, that there's a lot of motion. But where's the movement? I'm saying that any of those festivals that you mentioned now, none of us can conveniently say that you can draw 100,000 people. In Lagos, how can you count only about 5 known bookshops in a place of 22 million? Where are the libraries? Where are the, what we call extension services in our organization, Committee for Relevant Arts? We always say that we're working for the extension service. How do we extend the services of literature to affect the community? We came up, for instance, in 1999. As, in fact, the coming of democracy was our motivation for coming up. And Achebe was returning after 1991 accident. And we said, look, there's no way you can have, people can be coming into democracy after this long interregnum of military rule where freedom of expression was suppressed. That the only way you can get the community to be participants in the democratic discourse is to start this extension service of having book festival, open air book festival, create structures where people can come and encounter book, encounter mental capacitation, encounter knowledge. But I can tell you, 20 years down the line, we, even at 20 years, we're 20 this year, we can't even boast of having 10,000 people in a period of 1 week.
I'm going to come back to Lagos Book and Art Festival. But you sound like you are not impressed with the progress made in the last 20 years.
I am not.
Democracy has not led to literacy development.
No, it hasn't. Because even progressively, investment in education has dwindled a lot. You'll be surprised that under Abacha, Jarasani Abacha, that we call maximum dictator, we had more money for education. The universities were still of quality. In spite of what they said, SAP, the Bangida era up to Abacha, what they did to university education, in spite of what they did to the media, to public discourse and the rest of them. Do you know that we had quality universities, we had quality programs being run by our schools, we had quality classrooms, we had quality programs around this whole idea of literature and literacy. I like to talk more about literacy because as artists and writers, I would like to delude ourselves that because one of us is winning our prize abroad and all that we're making progress. That's not progress. It's literacy. It is literacy. If literacy is improved, the quality of writing will improve. The quality of engagement with literature will improve. The quality of mental capacitation, the quality of human capital development, which is where you should go. And the only thing that can drive us there is literacy. Without literacy, you cannot get there. Because even if you produce books, okay, you produce, how many of the authors, let me just put it that way, how many of authors can sell 1,000 copies? That the book comes out and you say, oh, look, 100,000 at the initial print.
Is the problem not distribution and marketing?
It's not just about distribution.
I mean, even with the poor literacy rates, you still can have a few thousands of people who can read a book that is published.
You know why we can't say it's about distribution? Internet actually became more available to us in those 20 years. Let's say that we limit ourselves to that 20 years. We had more access to internet. I always give one example. Do you know that the people that we call superstars of Nigerian music and literature today had no access to internet? In the days, God bless his soul, Raskimono, all those guys who became stars in those 80s to early 90s to mid 90s, they had no access to YouTube, to Instagram, to Twitter, and co. But look at the popular, they were national figures.